to a special Columbia Excursion episode of
Brutal Battle.
So, yeah, we did one of these actually not long ago. We did one for Frederick, Maryland, where we hit a bunch of beer places up, and we have been wanting to go to Columbia, Maryland for some time now. They have 3 very notable breweries down there that we've heard good things about, and so we wanted to go down and hit those, and we just kind of decided on a whim on a weekend where we didn't have anything planned. Well, Rebecca was the main force. She's like, why don't we go to Columbia? Why don't we hit up Sapwood Cellars, Hysteria Brewing, and Black Flag Brewing? And I was like, okay. And we've been to Black Flag before. We actually talked about our Black Flag experience when we went. I think it may have been 1 or 2 years ago. It's been a while. Yeah. But since Sapwood Cellars opened and since Hysteria Brewing opened, we have never been to them. So it was our first time with those two. It was our second time at Black Flag.
Are those the only 3 breweries in that area, or are there more?
There might be more, but those are the only ones I really know of.
Okay.
The other thing is there might be ones that aren't technically in Columbia, but are close.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure there are.
Ellicott City, Manor Hill, yeah.
I mean, we're at a point now in Maryland where we have a lot of breweries. We used to, like 10 years ago in Maryland, there were barely any breweries, and now it's like nuts.
Well, it's like that everywhere.
Yeah, it's just it's blowing up. It's crazy, which that's good. More options. So,
do you know when?
What's up?
I know you didn't do any research. Do you know about when? I mean, Sapwood just opened this year.
I think they're not yet a year old. Sapwood Cellars. I think they opened last like July or August, I want to say. So they're almost a year old.
And
at
then
this
what
point.
about Hysteria? Do you know?
Hysteria's been open, I think, a little longer than Sapwood, but
they're the ones that ran out of beer, right?
Yeah.
They opened, they ran out of beer, so they had to close.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a weird start to their opening. Yeah, they were literally being like, we're open now. Now we're closed for a bunch of days because we need to make more beer. Like, it was weird. But I think they've been open for more than a year. They may be at about 2 years at this point. I don't know.
You want to do some fact check? Right, I feel like I need to know this.
Well, Sapwood, I know Sapwood's only like almost a year old at this point, but
let's check them all.
I'm going to look on the website for Hysteria. I can't. I mean, there's nothing on their website that I see.
On Hysteria? Like, what, like, nothing
there's
like
a blog.
About us?
There's a blog, but I assume I'd have to go back to the very beginning of the blog, and I can't. So, I have no clue.
Okay, that's Hysteria. What are the other ones?
Zero clue. I'm not looking it up.
Oh, man.
Honestly, I don't even care.
I do.
Okay, you can look it up.
I don't have my phone.
I think a Black Flag is like 3 years old at this point. Hysteria is over 1 year old, and Sapwood Cellars about to be 1 year old. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. With that. People can fact check me on that. That's fine. It doesn't really matter to me how old these places are.
Okay,
it's just we know that Hysteria is on the newer end. Sapwood's on the even more newer end, and Black Flag's been there for a few years.
We have we don't know the year, but we have the age order.
Yeah, you know who's the oldest child, who's the youngest child.
The birth order.
Right, yes, exactly.
Okay, so we're going to go with the baby of the Sapwood Cellars first. That's where we went to first.
With our beers, we have one beer from each of the breweries. We're not going in a tasting order. We're actually going in the order we went to the breweries. And then we're just going to talk about our situation. Yeah. So the first one we went to was the youngest, Sapwood Cellars, which I'm in a Maryland beer group. Like, I think it's called Maryland Beer Drinkers group on Facebook. And there are a lot of people in that group, a lot of people who drink beer in Maryland and are very enthusiastic about it. And a lot of people are like, Sapwood Cellars, it's amazing. Like, immediately after it opened, people were like, this is now the best brewery in Maryland. And I was like, oh. So we've been meaning to get down there mainly because we heard such good things. And it was started by, I didn't look up his name, but the 2 guys who started Sapwood Cellars, one of them is Michael Tonsmeyer, who literally wrote the book on American sour beers. And the other guy is known on the internet as the Mad Fermentationist. He's been known for doing a lot of really awesome hoppy homebrews and just has a really good name out there as far as brewing goes. So those 2 guys getting together and starting this brewery, a lot of people were excited before it happened, and people are still excited now it's in operation. So the first beer we have is from them, and it is their Cheater Hops number 7. So Cheater Hops is a line of beers they've been doing that's just like hazy IPAs. So, and they just kind of have a different blend of hops for each iteration of it. Okay. So Cheater Hops number 7 has Simcoe, Citra, and Mosaic in it. And yes, New England style IPA, hazy IPA, however you want to say it. This one's in a growler. They do not have, well, they have can releases now. They just started doing a few can releases, but, you know, we're not going to go for something like that because, you know, we don't live close to them. And they have been doing it during the week, I think.
Oh, really?
I might be wrong on that, but at least I know that when they did the last 2 I was aware of, which may be the only ones they've done, we were not available anyway. So they're not regularly canning, but you can get growlers. So we got a 32-ounce growler.
A baby growler.
Of these Cheater Hops. Ooh. It's, oh my God, it's like crazy full.
Well, that's good, though.
Yeah. No, that is good because it keeps it fresher. And I have to apologize. I have to apologize right off the bat because I didn't think to get the name of the bartender who was helping us at Sapwood, but he was very, very helpful. And honestly, I want to say up front, all 3 of the breweries we went to, the bartending staff was great. Mm-hmm. Those people were like super nice. And it wasn't just a situation where like, oh, they took care of what I wanted. They were nice people. It was a situation where like they offered extra. Like they offered to do extra. They offered their opinions on things. Like they were very accommodating and very nice. Usually when you go to breweries,
like that's usually the experience.
Yeah, you have good people, but I feel like at all 3 of these breweries, they were even more so.
Yeah.
So good on them. That's awesome. So Cheater Hops.
Hazy.
Yeah, it looks hazy. It looks pretty orange.
It smells really good.
Yeah, it does. Oh man, it's like crazy aromatic. It's like super amounts of citrus. It smells like a tad bit piney, like a slight pine.
I'm also getting a little creamy.
Okay, yeah, which you know that makes sense with a hazy IPA.
Yeah, I could say a little piney. I'm
slight pine, but a lot of citrus.
Yeah, I'm perceiving there might be a little bitterness though, which
It's like juicy orangey smell.
Yeah.
Juicy orange, slight pine, not a ton on the malt.
Yeah, this is good.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And there is an okay bitterness on that.
Yeah.
More than I would. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say it's really. I like it because it's nice and balanced. Like you get like that sweet, fruity citrus, like orange. A little. I think it's like creamy, a little sugary, and then you get some bitterness to kind of balance it out. Yeah,
it's good. This is definitely. I think this might be the best beer.
I know. So
that we had from them.
So we walk in. Well, it's in an industrial park, which thank goodness. Any great brewery is in an industrial park.
It's totally true. And one of the things I love about that is that parking is never an issue.
Yeah,
it's like never an issue,
except when there's an event. But anyway, really awesome space. Yeah. Lots of there was seating at the bar. There were tables. There were like kind of like built-in benches around some windows with pillows.
It's a very stylish look, I will say. It's got a very nice aesthetic there.
Behind the bar, there was like brick and their sign. Real pretty, nice space, cozy. Yeah. The only thing I didn't really like, I feel like there wasn't like a great way to order a beer.
Right, yeah. There's no area where it's like order here, but a lot of bars are kind of like that, like.
I don't like it because then I feel like I'm like leaning in over to somebody. I don't know. I feel like it's not a good experience for some of the people who are sitting at the bar and when I'm trying to order. But anyway.
Right. Like Trogs Brewing, I will say, they have a sign and a cleared space where there are no stools at their bar that says, order here.
Yeah.
But they're super busy, so.
Yeah. I feel like it also helps with flow. I really don't like it when I go up to try to order a drink, and I feel like the most assertive, aggressive person gets to order first, and that really bothers me. Like, there's no order. Like, hey, excuse me. So they don't do tasters. It's either full pour or half pour.
Right.
So we ended up with...
Which is okay. If you're not going to do like the sampler size, doing half pours is good.
It's a good option.
That's good. I particularly prefer sampler size because you can try more, drink less, and I like that. But I also understand why you wouldn't, because it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It's a big pain.
For them, I think because they have one glass. So you don't have to confuse your servers. You're always grab one glass. It's just a matter of, are you filling it all the way up or just halfway?
Yeah.
So
I will run down what we got.
You want to give me a little more of that?
You want more of the cheater hops?
Yeah, I really am digging this.
Yes, I can. But let me just get to... There we go. Oh, Kat's coming.
Kat's coming. She likes to record with us. So Carlin's going to read off what we got.
I'll pour myself a little more, too.
You know, I think one of the... Oh, she's trying to get into our water.
Hey. No, sir. Or ma'am.
Ma'am.
No, ma'am.
She's a little girl. One thing I did not like about Sapwood is they did not have a great variety.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. Like, that's what they're known for at the moment is hazy IPAs and hazy pale ales. Like, hazy beers in general is, like, their thing. I do like that they had a few different options there. And one of the other things is, like, it's going to take them a little bit before they get more into the sour stuff.
Right. Well, because I was thinking, like, okay, there should be... Not that that's necessarily my favorite style, but I was looking forward to trying... And the only one that we did have, I didn't particularly care for.
Yeah, that was the Meltdown Mango.
Okay, well, go ahead. So we first start off with 3 half pours.
Yes. We ended up doing 5 total.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did 5 total, and we did not have this cheater hops while we were there. Although, like, I got a quick taste of it because, like I was saying, with the bartender being super, super helpful, I went up and I'm like, okay, I explained to him we were doing it for the podcast. It's like, we're going to get a beer in a growler. It's either going to be Dragon Reborn, or it's going to, which Dragon Reborn was like a hazy IPA with flaked rye. I said, or we're going to do the Cheater Hops number 7, because those were 2 beers we hadn't tasted that sounded interesting. And he was like, well, I mean, do you want to taste each of them before you make a decision? And I was like, yes, thank you very much. So I did a quick taste of each and decided on the Cheater Hops. So this is the first time I'm having more than one quick sip, and this is the first time Rebecca's had any of the Cheater Hops. It is quite good.
Really like this.
Yeah, I think this might be my favorite of what was there. Well, second favorite.
Yeah, I like the
Red Branch?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go over everything we had. We did Snip Snap, which is a hazy IPA that a lot of people have talked about, saying, man, that's an amazing hazy IPA. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was anything crazy special, to be honest. But the other thing is you need to consider the source of who's saying this. Yeah. Hazy IPAs, I cannot do much of. To me, they're not my wheelhouse. They're not a style I particularly like, because typically they have almost no bitterness, which I really like bitterness in my IPAs. I feel like it balances stuff out. The other thing is I feel like in hazy IPAs, I don't get a whole lot of malt character, and I want to taste that malt bill. I always want to taste the malt bill, along with the nice hoppiness and a nice bitterness in my hoppy beers. So, for that reason, I wasn't super impressed with Snip Snap. I see why a lot of people really like it, but for me, it's just not my thing. So we did the Snip Snap for what it is. Good beer. Cloud Palace, which is another hazy.
I like that more than Snip Snap.
Yeah, I would say as well. Yeah, me too. That's an Imperial hazy IPA. Okay. Then there was the Meltdown Mango. That was the one Rebecca said she didn't like. Mm-hmm. That was a sour. I believe it was a kettle sour. I think they're only doing kettle sour at the moment until they get things like really going. And then I think they may be doing some wild stuff after that. At least I hope so. So that was just basically like a sour beer with mango to it. I felt like when I first took a drink of it when it was colder, I could get some mango, but not a lot. And Rebecca hated it because
it gave me that. I took one sip and like, nope. It gives you that like acid bile taste that I just totally turns me off.
So it did have that, but I will say that as it warmed up and I continued to drink it, that started to really fade. as the mango started coming up. So the mango kind of masked it as it warmed up. And I think it turned out, to me, I enjoyed that beer. It turned into a pretty nice beer, in my opinion.
You did enjoy it. It was hard for me to go back to it. Plus, I was like, I got to pace myself because we got 2 more breweries to go to.
Yeah. And it was a low sourness, too, which I liked about it. That was cool. My favorite beer there, this is my favorite, Conference Room 11. So it was a wheat beer that was done with wine yeast, and it basically tasted like a really nice, really flavorful and clean saison. It was really good. I really enjoyed that one. That was my favorite by far. And then we had the Red Branch that Rebecca said was her favorite, which was just like a red hoppy beer.
Mm-hmm. Just
red
nice,
ale.
clean, easy to drink.
And then, like I said, I did have a little taste of that Dragon Reborn. So it was with the rye and everything, it's got like a little bit of a spice character. It was a little more earthy. It was good, like decent. I just thought the Cheater hops was more
How did that
fun.
compare to like the Snip Snap and the Cloud Palace?
I didn't have enough of it to really form that type of opinion.
Yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, the Cheater hops is really good, and the other reason I wanted to get it is it's a very good representation of what they're popular for. Mm-hmm. Like, that's their thing. Yeah. Like you said, little let down that they didn't have more of a variety there, but at the same time...
That's what they're... Yeah.
Right. That's what sells. So you can't really fault them for selling what sells. Like, that's just the way things are.
Oh, yeah, that's very nice.
So overall... Had a good time at Sapwood.
Yeah.
It was good. But it was one of those instances where I was kind of like, I wish that people hadn't hyped the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Because I tried all the beers and I was like, this is what people are saying are the most amazing beers they've ever had. Because literally people are saying that on social media. Like, this is the best brewery in Maryland. These beers are unbelievably amazing. Like, they're good beers. They're definitely good beers. But... I don't it's one of those hype issues.
Right. It also depends on
who you are,
what your taste is. Like if you like,
your preference?
Right. So, I like I said, I really liked the space. I also liked, we got down there 4.
Yeah, around 4-ish. Yeah.
And there were some families there with kids, and they were well behaved.
Well behaved. Thank you.
And kudos to his parents because they were enjoying beers, but also really working hard to entertain kids.
Yes, and that's the big thing. I think it becomes... I don't know on the table. I think it becomes an issue when parents take their kids and they want to just drink beer and focus on that and talking and just ignore the kids. And the kids start running around, just getting into trouble. But yeah, all those parents there... They were like drinking beers and enjoying it, but also keeping an eye on the kid and making sure that they had activities for the kid to do. They were keeping him occupied and out of trouble.
And then I think it was when you went up to get the growler, there was a family, and the kids were a little older, but it looked like a mom and dad and 3 kids, and they had like bags of like games and activities.
Perfect.
So I'm
way
like,
to do it.
Yes,
that's the way to do it.
Like I feel like that's responsible parenting. I mean, okay, whatever. I'm not going to go into bringing your kid to a brewery, but
right, because we've talked about that before on the podcast.
I do think it's good to expose your children to. We're not parents, responsible drinking.
Sure,
exactly.
Why not?
I think that takes a lot of the taboo out of it.
Yes,
but,
I agree with that.
Okay, then we went to Hysteria.
Yeah, on to the second beer. And I will say, I'm going to say it right now, Hysteria was our favorite brewery of the 3. And this is the funny thing about it. I have heard the least hype about Hysteria, which maybe was part of the reason we liked it so much.
Yeah.
Because we went in just being like, oh, and then there's this brewery called Hysteria. And we tried every beer on their tap list because we just ended up liking it all.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest, every single beer, except one of them, we really enjoyed. So they have cans, which is awesome. They had 3 different beers in cans when we were there. They had a sour fruited IPA, they had a sour beer, and then they had a sour fruited beer that's not an IPA, and then they had this one, which is Mother's Milk, which is a milk stout, and it's the tiramisu version of Mother's Milk, which has added to it... Oh, I look it up. Cocoa nibs, vanilla, and espresso.
And Mother's Milk, the base beer, is a coffee stout.
Is it?
I think that's what we had there.
Oh.
Wasn't that just Mother's Milk?
No, I think...
No?
Oh, maybe you are right. I don't know.
I was right.
When we talk about the beers we had,
Okay.
I'll go with that.
So again, Hysteria was in an industrial park.
Yes, thank you. Very good.
A smaller space than Sapwood.
Yes.
But super cozy.
Very different aesthetic.
Yes, very...
It was like steampunk type. And kind of like an eclectic mix of things there. It looked like some of the stuff came from like garage sales.
Yeah.
And it was
super
cool
cozy. It was hip. It was cozy. I love they had 2 bathrooms and on both of them it said everyone.
Well, and also, okay, we're going to get to this beer real quick, but the last thing, since you brought up the bathroom right now, this is a really weird, odd thing, but people, if you know me, I focus on really small, weird, odd things that are like nice touches. They had toilet paper that is not single ply.
Yeah, it was...
It was actually like comfortable toilet paper.
And it was funny because I went to the bathroom first and I touched the toilet paper and I was like, oh my gosh, it's not like sandpaper.
You were surprised, right?
And then I was like, Carlin's going to be very happy.
Yeah, but no, that's one thing that bothers me about using a bathroom anywhere is usually it's just single ply and it's like the crappiest of the crappy, no pun intended. But the fact that they put not single ply there means they care about their customers.
Customers down their parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So does it look like a milk stout?
I mean, it's dark. It looks like a stout.
Yeah, just a little brown around the edges. Not much of head being retained on it, to be honest.
Now, we did have this one there.
Oh, the ABV on the cheater hops, by the way, is 7.2%. The ABV on the Mother's Milk tiramisu is 6.5.
Okay.
So low. Ooh, it smells sweet.
Yes.
It smells so sweet. It smells milk chocolatey.
It does. Yeah, and I
get coffee.
I get sweetness. I don't know if I can pull out anything else.
I do get a little bit of that vanilla, but it's probably the weakest scent in there. It's a lot of chocolate, and then it's a decent amount of coffee, and then it's the vanilla coming in at the end. But it smells sweet, but it smells not too sweet.
And did I already say we had this at the brewery?
No.
Okay, so we did have this already.
It is sweet, but it's tasty.
Exactly. So we got this on the second round of beers we got. And I really like this because it is sweet, but not too sweet.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because you have a beer like this, and I don't want it to like be so sweet. I don't
want the diabetes.
I don't want the sugar.
Yeah, so when you first take a sip, it's sweet, and it hits your palate like in a little bit of a shocking manner, and you feel like, oh my gosh, but then it like comes down.
Because then you get like that coffee that kind of like balances it out.
Mm-hmm. Do you get the vanilla?
Yeah.
I do. It's on the end. Mm-hmm. It's nice. Yeah. But it's very chocolatey. I mean, as a milk stout, it's nice. It's creamy. It's chocolatey. It's got that coffee to it, but it's got that vanilla at the end, too.
I mean, this definitely could be like a dessert beer, but it also is very approachable to just kind of drink on its own because it's not overly sweet. And I like that it's not super boozy or anything. You know what I mean? Like it's very sessionable.
It's a stout and not an imperial stout. Yeah. And to be honest, a lot of the times when I have straight stouts, the mouthfeel is very thin.
Yeah, no, this
is like a very nice mouthfeel with low ABV and really good flavors, and you didn't need to make it imperial.
Yeah.
So this is nice. I quite like this beer.
So we got to Hysteria. By this time, it was getting a little late. Later, like, we needed to eat dinner. So Hysteria did not have food. Sapwood had a food truck, but it was nothing that we were, like, super
psyched about.
Yeah. It was just kind of like, So we get to Hysteria. I'm like, hopefully they'll just have, like, pretzels or some sort of munchie. Mm-hmm. They had chips, so we were...
They had good chips, too, like kettle chips. Yeah. Route 66, I think is what the company's called.
So we just asked, like, the bartender, we're like, okay, we've never been here before. What would you recommend? And they did do sampler sizes.
Yes, thank goodness. And the bartender's name was Alan.
Yeah.
And he was a really nice guy, and he was unbelievably helpful. And he gave us his recommendations to try, and he was very correct on those.
Yeah.
Those were some of our favorite beers, to be honest.
And it was a good, I was like, if we'd never been here before, what should we try? And it was a good representation of, because I think, we'll look it up. Was it Mother's Milk? Was that just the coffee stout?
No.
Is that right?
You're wrong.
What was it?
Morning After coffee stout.
Morning After.
That's a really good coffee stout. The coffee is front and center. It's very, very tasty. It's not acrid at all, so most likely they did cold brew for it. If they didn't, I don't know how they made it as smooth as they did and taste good.
That was really good. And then he recommended, what else? The other two.
He didn't recommend... No, maybe You're Killing Me Smalls. Was that one he did recommend, or did we just pick that one out? I think he did. No, he didn't. That's one we wanted initially, but we did You're Killing Me Smalls, which was the fruited sour IPA. Yeah. And that was good.
It was good.
That was quite tasty. I liked the kind of like hop kick at the very end of it with some nice bitterness. Then he did recommend this one, Tipping Point, which I think was your favorite.
That was my favorite. It was so good.
It was like a hoppy wheat beer.
Yeah. It was just perfect.
Hoppy pale.
It's that, nearing the end of June. It's just perfect for this time of year. And it's just perfect for a kind of a light, easy to drink, but flavorful.
Yeah. It was nice and light, had that nice wheat flavor, but it was really flavorful at the same time as being like light and crisp. Yeah. It was a killer beer. Yeah. That was one of my favorites. It wasn't my favorite though. This next one was my favorite. And thankfully they had 4-pack cans. But we're not doing it on this episode. Happy Little Accident. It's the Mangricot version, which is mango and apricot. So it's a mango apricot sour. It was, which I think they had, let me check real quick. I think they had added to that,
lactose?
Yeah.
Because it was kind of creamy.
Oh, sorry, it's not on their website anymore. Okay. It kicked. So, yeah. I think they had added lactose to it or something, or vanilla. Like it was, there's a creaminess to it for a reason. Like it was intentional, and it's really nice. It's not quite like the smoothie sours, but it's kind of like a much lesser version of a smoothie sour, but really tasty. I love that beer. I thought that beer was really awesome. I'm glad we could take some of it home with us.
Okay, and we do have a 4-pack.
We do have a 4-pack.
I can drink that on the beach.
Yeah. Then we had Weight of the World, which was an amber ale.
Which was really tasty.
Yeah, as a straightforward amber ale, it was a very nice amber. Yeah. It was obviously malty as ambers are. It was very clean. Yes. It was very easy. It was tasty. I like that amber.
I'm just keep going back for this.
We did have that. We talked about it. We did have the Mother's Milk Tiramisu. Mm-hmm. We all know about that.
Well, that's because we started with 4, and then I tore through those chips like crazy.
Yeah, me too.
And then we were like, we like this one, we like this one, we're like, okay, that's it, we're going back. And Carlin's like, that's it, we're just going to taste everything.
Taste it all. Well, because the beer, we were liking every beer so much, that was just like, why would we not taste everything they have available? Yeah. And we ended up not finishing one of them because we didn't like it. It was their Nuffer Flutter. It was like a 14% Imperial Stout with like, that's also, oh wait, actually, is it?
Which, I will say, I don't think it...
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Tasted like 14%?
No. But it tasted weird to me.
Yeah, it was something just didn't
There's something off about it. So it was an Imperial Milk Stout with vanilla and hazelnut added.
Which sounds delicious.
But I don't know. Just the execution of it, I don't know. It just wasn't, I don't know. Just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Wasn't my thing.
But I mean, out of all the, because we tried what?
That many beers.
4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6, 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Yeah. 1 out of 7 we didn't like. All the other ones we were like, that's really good. Yeah. Not just good, like really good. So yeah, Hysteria killing it, man. I really like that place. I think it's a cool place I'd really like to go back to again. Mm-hmm. And like I said, that was our favorite.
Only downside about Hysteria was the dog situation again.
Yeah, there was a dog in there barking, and I feel like in those instances you gotta nip it. No pun intended.
Nip that dog.
You gotta get in there and have staff say, hey, if that dog's gonna bark, you have to go outside. Yeah. You gotta leave. Because, especially in breweries, they don't usually have great acoustics. And a dog barking is like ear-shattering. So, this is another one of my pet peeves. I don't understand why people feel like they want to bring dogs to breweries. I'm fine with it if there's an outside seating area because I understand that. Like, dogs like to be outside. But if you're bringing a dog indoors to a brewery, you're not doing it for the dog. You're doing it for yourself. It's very selfish.
Well, unless the dog has separation anxiety.
Right, that's true. That makes sense.
Or if the dog is like your emotional support animal.
Sure. But a lot of the times what it seems like to me is people are just bringing dogs in because they want to show them off.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, oh, people will love it. I can show them off.
There are plenty of dogs. There were two or three other dogs there that were totally fine, like not barking.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if your dog's not well behaved, GTFO.
Yeah.
Like, get out. I don't want you around. And that's the thing is breweries need to be on top of that.
It's like children.
It's about an overall experience for every patron. And if there's one person infringing on that, you need to kick them out.
Yeah.
And so if there's a bad dog owner who won't control their animal,
it's hard. I mean, it is hard to control if the dog is barking. But if you know your dog, if you know your dog is going to bark, if it sees another dog or...
Right. But the thing is this.
Don't bring it out.
If your dog barks once or twice, that's fine. Like, I understand that if they then calm down. But if they continues to bark and you stay there, you're an asshole.
This dog was continually barking.
Yes, that person's an asshole, and they should have left. And someone should have told them to leave.
I mean,
so that's our only
three strikes, 3 barks, and you're out.
Yeah, sure. I think that makes sense. Makes a lot.
Okay.
If people can't tell, I get very heated about this topic because I think it's total BS. We've talked about it before on the podcast. I think it opens up a lot of liability for the brewery allowing the dogs to come in. So I personally, if I had a brewery, would not allow animals at all in there because it's
you have to allow
liability.
Animals,
but outdoor seating, like I said, totally good. No problem there. Indoors doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So then we went to Black
Flag, which we had been to before, like I said.
Yeah.
They had a food truck. It's usually a food truck, but they were inside with the food.
It was like an indoor food vendor, which was empanadas.
Yeah, that's not the name of them.
It's Tasty Empanadas.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And we were like, okay, we'll just...
eat those empanadas.
Eat the empanadas.
Because we needed like a meal. All we had was chips at Hysteria. So we're like, we need food.
So we get there and there's like kind of like 1 or 2 lonely empanadas when they had multiple trays. So clearly they had a lot.
So I was like, I don't want what everyone else didn't want.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want what everyone else has probably breathed on.
That too. Because it was just in like open containers just sitting there. And I was like, sketch.
Yeah.
So luckily we asked their bartender there, whose name was Ian, very helpful, very nice guy. Is there any place that'll deliver here? And he said, oh yeah, the pizza place, Home Slice, across the street. They'll walk it right in. And we ordered their classic, which had like eggplant and red peppers and like some goat cheese. It was awesome. Yeah. That pizza was so good. We got a 16-inch and we destroyed it half and half.
Yeah.
It was a great pizza. But anyway, let's do our beer. We'll talk more about Black Flag after this beer.
This is another beer we did not have.
Correct. So for both of us, this is the first time we're having this beer. It is Black Flag Spell Check. Czech spelled C-Z-E-C-K, or I'm sorry, C-Z-E-C-H, like Czech Republic. So you know it's going to be a Czech style Pilsner. Dry hopped Czech Pils is what it says. And here's one of the great things about Black Flag. They always have like these pop culture nods. Well, not always, but a lot of times with their beers that they put out on the cans. And this one is funny because it's Mr. Paperclip from Microsoft when you need help. People remember that if you're old enough to remember that on your computer. And it's really funny because it has Mr. Paperclip on there and he has a word bubble. It says, "It looks like you are about to crack a few crispy tall boys. Would you like some help?" And then it's got a little button where you can click yes. It's just, their marketing's awesome. Yeah. I love their cans.
Well, and the can, we didn't mention the can from Hysteria, but I think that's also kind of cute.
Oh, it's a cow milking into a keg.
Yeah, and the cow itself looks like tiramisu.
Yeah. Okay, so the spell check is 5.6%.
Nice.
You know, we're liking some Pilsners, so hopefully this is good. Ah, yeah. Nice tall boy. A Pilsner.
And there was a dog at Black Flag, and he jumped on me, and I did not like it.
He wasn't barking, though.
He didn't bark, but
so
he
that
did jump
nice.
on. But he did jump on me, and I was like...
He did jump on you, and the owner didn't even apologize or anything. So that person also is an asshole.
I'm not, like, anti-dog, but, like...
Control your animal.
What if I was? What if I, like, was afraid of dogs?
Well, what if you were
allergic?
Because a lot of people are allergic to different animals.
And the owner didn't even acknowledge. I'm like,
yeah. Anyway, we're not going to do the dog thing anymore. We're done with that.
Do the dog thing. Okay, so it's clear. It's
yellow, orange.
Has a nice fluffy head.
Yeah. Agitated porno.
I don't think I rinsed my glass good enough.
Oh, you smell some tiramisu still?
Yeah, but I'm not really getting anything out of this beer.
I honestly, with the dry hopping, I get a little bit of a citrus kick on it. Like it smells like Pilsner malt. And it smells like crisp and light, but then I get like a citrus kick, and it's like an orange citrus from the dry hopping.
Sometimes when we drink and do podcasting, I just get impatient. If I don't smell anything, I just drink. You're
like Mike. Mike's the same way when he's on, which he was on recently, and he just like, he does the sniffing like kind of quick, and then it's just like, starts drinking. I'm like, all right.
I'm like, I'm not really getting anything.
Do what you do.
It just smells like light.
Yeah, I mean, it smells like a decently hopped Pilsner.
It's very citrusy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very orangey.
They went pretty hard on the dry hopping, I guess.
But it's still really light, crisp, refreshing. I like this. Kind of tangerine-y.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's kind of creamy.
I like it.
Which is odd to me for a Pilsner.
I don't think it's creamy. I think it's...
No, I feel like it is kind of creamy.
I like it, though.
There's like a decent bitterness on the end. No, there's something weird about the creaminess to me. But
I don't care. I like it.
But I like that the dry hopping on it is a really nice citrus flavor. And I like the kind of crisp finish.
I really like it.
It's a solid brew.
And we had... I didn't drink a ton of Black Flag because I was driving home. But you're like really trying to figure something out with this.
I don't know. It might just be in my head, but it tastes kind of buttery. Like a diacetyl type situation.
I'm not getting that at all.
But that might just be in my head.
I think that's in your head.
Someone had informed me after we were there. They're like, one of those beers is like hardcore diacetyl in it. Which actually for me, and we'll talk about it when we get to it, it actually worked for me in the beer. So I was like, oh, well, that was like my favorite beer there. And I thought it worked. But, yeah, I don't know. There's something weird about it. I like it, but there's something kind of weird. Anyway, so what we had there, we had King Kolsch, which obviously a Kolsch. Yeah, it was a pretty solid Kolsch. We had their Cosmonaut, which was a hazy IPA, decent. Although I think for me it had like a cryo hop finish.
Which one was that?
Cosmonaut.
Oh, yeah, hazy, it was okay.
Which for me, I'm not big. Well, first of all, I've been saying I'm not big on hazy IPAs, but I also really don't like that kind of menthol finish that you get with like those cryo hops. Yeah.
I didn't get that as much, but I'm also not as sensitive.
Right.
So I don't pick it up as much as you do.
What I thought was better as a hazy IPA was their Dank Nugs, which it didn't really have that kind of cryo hop finish in my opinion, and it was a decent hazy IPA. I enjoyed it. Then my favorite, I think it was your favorite too, the Orange Dreamsicle. So basically, it was a fruited sour. It was an orange sour, and that's the one that someone was like, "There's a lot of diacetyl in that." But for me, it just kind of like rolled into the creaminess of it, of making it an orange dreamsicle.
Now, for those who don't know, what does diacetyl do?
Tastes like butter. That's what it is. Like, literally, diacetyl is in theater butter that you put on your popcorn.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's a flavoring. It's not actual butter. It's a flavoring.
So it's added. That would be a mistake in the beer?
Yeah,
or do you think it was added to
that's
the
an
beer?
imperfection in the beer,
Okay.
yeah. But honestly, like, there have been times where we've had beers that have imperfections like that, and it works for it.
Right. Oh, yeah, we've had plenty of those.
Yeah. And I think... So in that instance, even though it's considered an imperfection, if you're a brewery who can then take that and make it work for what the beer is supposed to be, or what you turn it into, if it tastes good, it tastes good. So I kind of like the fact that had diacetyl and they made it into something tasty.
Maybe I wonder what their intent was on making it, though.
Right.
If it was not supposed to be that?
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know. But, I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked that. It was my favorite.
That was my favorite beer, too.
And then the Cafe Cruiser, which I didn't like. It was a coffee stout, and...
I don't know why you were dogging on that so much. You were like, ugh.
I didn't, you know... Maybe it was just in comparison to that Hysteria coffee stout, because that was so good, and we had just been there.
I think it was good. It wasn't, like, my favorite or anything.
But I didn't get a strong... Like, there wasn't much of a coffee character to it, to be honest. I don't know. I just wasn't getting a whole lot. I don't know. It was, like, really thin, and I don't know. It's just not for me. I didn't enjoy it. But that Orange Dreamsicle, the spell check is nice.
Yeah.
I have a little bit more of that, but...
So I think we both would agree that Hysteria was our favorite.
I loved Hysteria.
Yeah.
And I will be honest, I don't want to go back to Black Flag.
That's what he kept saying.
But let me qualify this, because I know some people are like, oh my god, Black Flag's good though. It is good. Their beer. I hate their ambiance. Because
no, it's not their ambiance.
Well, okay, it's the acoustics. It gets so unbelievably loud in that place. They need to do something with dampening the noise. And
it would be very hard for them because their ceilings are so high.
I know. But if
I don't know
something.
I don't know if you noticed at Sapwood Cellar, they had like quilted black pads against the walls to help with sound.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. No, I didn't notice that. But good on them. Like, well, and that's the other thing is like the other places, Hysteria and Sapwood were industrial places, and noise was fine. Even though those places were well attended,
they were busy.
Yeah. It's just Black Flag. It's so out of control. It's so bad, and that makes me not want to go there. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I feel bad saying it that I never want to go back for that reason. I might want to, like, if we're in the area, pop by, run in, and buy some cans of beer because I do like what they're doing. And that's the other great thing. They have a lot of cans available for purchase. Yeah, to
they
take
have
with you.
a wide variety.
Mm-hmm. I was very impressed with that, and I enjoyed that. But
can I have some more cheater hops?
Actually, I was going to suggest we just open that Hysteria beer, the other Hysteria.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And by the way, as I continue to sip on the spell check, I take back the diacetyl thing.
Yeah,
I think it was just a thing like in my head. But it's weird. It does have kind of a creaminess to it.
I don't care what I don't care.
The citrus in it is nice. I really like that. It is good. I'm gonna run real quick and grab that Hysteria beer. Keep talking, Rebecca.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever. Are you talking?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm just looking at all the beer that we have to drink now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pick what you like.
I like it all.
Yeah, so we'll drink it all.
Problem.
So, I just want to throw this one in there because we loved Hysteria so much, and I kind of just want to drink this now because I like it a lot. This is the Happy Little Accident, and apparently they do a few of these. The Mangricot, it's the mango apricot fruited sour, and it's 5% alcohol. And I like this cover or this artwork because it's a nod to Bob Ross. It's a happy little accident here. We're going to paint in some happy little bush.
Oh, do you want to rinse me? Did you rinse me?
I did not, but I can. Get your rinse.
Get my rinse.
Okay, sorry. I just really wanted this beer. And I think it'd be cool to have it on podcast because we have it. It's right here.
Yeah, we have a lot of beer.
Well, the night is young. It's not even night yet, actually, so it's definitely
night.
young.
It's 5:30.
That's not night, that's evening.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference,
Okay.
categorically speaking. Okay, so it's very orange.
Also, how much do you love to say mangrocot?
Mangrocot's a cool word. Yes, I agree. There should be a hybrid fruit called mangrocot.
I love it.
Just like plumcot or
Yeah.
pluot.
Pluot.
That's another one. Okay, so it's very much not clear. It's very orange in color.
Very thick looking.
You smell that sourness immediately.
It smells really good. And it smells...
I smell vanilla.
Yes, it smells... Is there vanilla? Do we know?
I feel like there's got to be, or like lactose.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Let me see if I can Google
It is just...
and find it.
It smells so thick, full, creamy, fruity, but also light.
Yeah.
And, obviously there's some tartness, but it doesn't smell sour. It's like my kind of sour.
Okay. Hysteria Brewing Happy Little Accident.
I'm drinking it. I can't wait for you.
Yes, vanilla added to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mango and apricot with vanilla in
Yeah.
a sour beer. And you can, like I was saying, you can smell that vanilla, and it gives it like this creaminess in the nose. So it's like the mango, the apricot, and the vanilla cream. That smells amazing.
It's like tart. It kind of makes the sides of your mouth pucker and tingle.
Yes,
but
at
it's
first.
also
smooth.
creamy and smooth and so fruit forward.
Mm-hmm.
You get the mango, you get the apricot. To be honest, I don't know if it would be... If I didn't know, I would probably say peach.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying there.
Just because taste-wise, it's hard.
No? I wouldn't go peach, no.
I would. It's
Because
delicious.
I feel like peach is a lot more of a delicate flavor than what you're getting in here. This is more aggressive. Like, apricots in particular have an aggressive nature.
Okay. I'm thinking of nectarines. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I could see, like, a nectarine. That's fine. This is good. I love this beer. Like I said, this is my favorite one. I love this beer. Hysteria. We're coming back. We're coming back.
Well, because we love also, when we're down in that area, going to Victoria's Gastropub, because we really like their food.
Yes.
And they're
So good.
really well known for their duck fat fries, which are really good.
And they also have very good tap lists.
Yes.
Always.
So we thought about going there for dinner, but then we thought that's a time commitment. So the pizza was...
Yeah.
It was just like the two of us in our own little world, shoving down the pizza, shoving down the beer.
It was a fun time. It was awesome. And I got to be honest, I'm very jealous of Columbia.
Yeah.
Like, these three breweries and they're very close. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily hit all three of those breweries pretty fast.
Well, we did. We did
that's
hit
true,
them
we
really
did.
fast.
We got down there at like 4 and we left a little after 8, I guess.
And we hit 3.
Yeah, and they're super close. They're literally just like a few miles away from each other. And it's...
Well, it took about like...
so jealous. You guys got 3 really nice breweries right there.
Black Flag and Hysteria are literally like 2 minutes, 3 minutes apart.
Yes. I think when you put in on our GPS...
I think it said
It said
3 minutes?
2 minutes to get there.
It didn't even feel like that, though, because it was
No,
like
it was
2
like,
turns.
whoop.
And then we're like, oh, we didn't even really...
Well, and then if we had gone to Victoria's Gastropub is like 1 minute from Black Flag.
Well, more than that.
Okay, maybe
because of
2 or
traffic
3.
lights.
But yeah.
But Sapwood to Hysteria Black Flag area was like 10, 15 minutes at most.
Yeah. Crazy.
Okay. If you're gonna make me rank these, aren't you?
Yes. And the happy little accidents is in it now. Ooh.
Damn, this is gonna be hard.
I am going back to the cheater hops, just like you kind of wanted. Do you want in on it?
I'm still drinking this.
Well, you can just drink out of mine then.
Ugh, cooties.
You have all my cooties.
Barf.
Ah, yeah, it's tasty.
This is super hard because there is not a bad beer on this.
To be honest, after having those other 3 beers, going back to the cheater hops, it kind of hits as like this nice, refreshing citrus blast. It's good.
And
They're all good. I like it all.
It's so hard to say because these are all 4 completely different beers.
Right. And that's one of the great things about having all these on this.
Yeah.
Because it's showing you that there's a pretty diverse amount of things coming out of these 3 breweries in Columbia. You just drank all my cheater hops.
All right.
More and more. Yeah, you like slammed it back. That's the other thing. It's easy.
Good.
It's easy.
Oh man,
it's flavorful. It's easy.
I'm glad we got a growler of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it off.
A baby growler.
Okay,
and they did
get to rank.
I didn't think we talked about that. They did crowlers at Hysteria.
Yes, I think they had that available at Black Flag as well.
Yes, but only some of them were available.
Oh yeah. There were certain beers where it's like on tap only, can't take anything home.
Which was the case of the
Orange Dreamsicle,
which is why we don't have it because otherwise we would have had that one.
Yeah, probably. The only thing I was kind of disappointed about was that Sapwood didn't have crowlers, but they're young. They may end up getting that at some point. Well, the reason is I'm lazy. I didn't want to have to wash one of our growlers and take it with us.
I think it's we need to start reusing more.
No, I know. And they have their own growlers there. We could have just gone there and gotten one of their growlers, but we have too
not.
many.
No.
I know.
No.
I know. All right.
And to the Izzo.
We got to rank. Got to get on the ranking. Okay. Do you know yours?
I know.
Do you want to go first?
I want to know what you think.
Okay. So my number 4, still quite tasty, is Black Flag Spell Check, the dry hopped Czech Pilsner.
I have a feeling we're going to be the same.
My number 3 is the Hysteria Tiramisu Mother's Milk Stout with cocoa nibs, vanilla, and espresso. My number 2 is the Sapwood Cellars Cheater Hops number 7, which is a hazy IPA with Simcoe Citra and Mosaic, I think is what I said.
I don't remember. That was way too long ago.
Yeah. And my number 1 is the Hysteria Happy Little Accident Mangricot Fruited Sour with vanilla, mango, and apricot.
Okay. So we're not the same.
I didn't think we would be. Okay.
Do you want to guess mine?
Yeah, here's my prediction. The same, except switch the cheater hops and the mother's milk.
Nope.
Really? Okay, go ahead. Is mother's milk number 1 for you?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want another guess? I feel like this is kind of like the Price is Right.
I'm not guessing anymore.
Oh, okay.
Just go.
Okay, my number 4 is the Spell Check.
Okay. I thought that would be the case.
Yeah.
Still quite good.
It's so good. I know. I hate to do this
Yeah.
because my number 3 is the Tiramisu.
Okay.
My number 2 is the Happy Little Accident.
Okay. Your number 1 is the cheater hops.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, it is quite good.
Yeah.
And I guess this is why people are like, Sapwood Cellar, brah.
I mean, that beer is very well done.
It is.
I mean, they're all
well
it is.
done.
But I mean, I really like, again, it's just this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
Another moment in time, I may rank them totally different. Because they're all so good. And it's hard to compare because they're so different.
Well, it's like, what do you typically like? What's your
Right.
mood? That's another thing. Because, we're doing this, and there may be people listening and being like, yes, Hysteria was their favorite by far, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like Black Flag would be my favorite, or Sapwood Cellars would be my favorite. And I'll tell you this, I posted in that Maryland Beer Drinkers Club, or group when I was at Hysteria. I posted about it. I was like, we finally made it down to Columbia for the podcast. We're going to do an episode. We went to Sapwood Cellars. It was good. We're at Hysteria. I think this is my favorite by far. And then we're going to Black Flag. So we'll see how that is. And the comments on there, one of them was like, you think Sapwood Cellars is just good? But then they were like, and I was like, what a D-bag. But then they were like, I guess it's just personal taste.
Yeah, for
So I'm
sure.
like, thank you. Because there are so many people who online with that type of stuff will be like, you think it was just good? You're a jerk. You're an idiot. But the fact that this person was then like, well, I guess it's personal taste.
That's great.
Exactly.
I mean,
Bingo.
I think it's great to have access to such variety. Because not everyone likes one style. And not everybody, even if you do like one style, you don't want to drink that one style all the time.
I mean, some people do.
Yeah, well...
But I don't.
We don't.
I like to jump around. That's just our
Jump
thing.
around, which is why my fridge is still filled with beer.
There's so much. There is so much. Well, this trip didn't help.
No, it didn't. And this afternoon, I was prepping for food for the week, and my half and half fell out and dripped all over my pants.
But you know what? It's a good problem to have. I mean, it's a tasty problem to have. Mm-hmm. Also, one of the other things I wanted to say, someone had posted on my post and said how they think that Hysteria is unbelievably underrated, and I agree with that because, like I said, I hear almost nothing about Hysteria, and when we went there, it was very good. So,
I mean, I would, besides the noise issue at Black Flag, I would go back to all of them.
Yeah, and that's the main thing that makes me say I don't want to go back to Black Flag is it hurts the hell out of my ears.
Yeah,
it really does. If they had an outdoor seating area, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go back to Black Flag. And
none of them did.
Yeah. Come to think of it, none of them did.
It's hard to in an industrial space like that.
Well, I think you have to get a special permit
to drink beer outside.
Yeah. So that's just another level of pain in the ass.
But for sure, if you're in the area, definitely check out all three because there's definitely... They all have very different offerings, different spaces.
Well, and also, like we said, they're so...
You might as well.
Yeah, they're so unbelievably close. You might as well go to every single one of them. All three of them. And I'm jealous still. Okay. Because Columbia's got it going on.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. Don't think so. Check the website out, brutalbattle.com. I'm not doing a ton with that, but Rebecca's doing some stuff with the Instagram.
And if you want to see some of the posts from our night out yesterday, some of the pictures...
Well, it wouldn't be yesterday when this comes out.
Okay, that's true. A couple days ago, weeks ago.
June 15th.
I posted some of the stuff that we had. Some of the pictures aren't that great because it was the end of the night and I just posted them and didn't really...
Yeah, put much effort into it.
I didn't.
Just get it up there.
Yeah.
Also, something that I don't say enough, but I should say, is that if people want to go and get the back catalog, everything of this podcast, which... I mean, do it if you want to. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because this podcast...
There's some caution.
Because the podcast...
Listen at your own risk.
Yeah. The podcast gets better over time and is... Any episode you're listening to that's recent, that's the best episode that there's been, basically. Because our knowledge base just continues to grow. We become more comfortable. So if you want to hear, the very beginning, it's funny because it's terrible. But go to archive.org, which is where all the episodes are hosted, and just search Brutal Battle. And you can access everything. Or also on the website, brutalbattle.com. Because on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play, I think they only keep the last 50 most recent episodes. So, which is good for, people just showing up and being like, oh, this podcast is good. Instead of starting with number one and being like, oh, this podcast sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you want to laugh, go back to the first few episodes. It's terrible. Just terrible.
Okay. Well, that's about it then, huh?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Columbia. Thank you, Black Flag. Thank you, Hysteria. Thank you, Sapwood Cellars. I know you guys didn't do anything other than your jobs, but you did them well.
We'll keep making beer.
Yeah. And until next time,
keep it brutal.
This has been a Nerd Circle podcast production.